It is 5:05 on November 17th to call this meeting to order. If we can do roll call, please.
Student trustee Mims, trustee Calhoun,
Present.
trustee Dopplemore,
Present.
Dr. Little,
Present.
trustee Lopez,
Present.
President Ramos, Dr. Curry.
Here.
All right. Moving on to item number 2, approval of closed session agenda.
So moved. Second.
Do we have any edits? No. All right. Do we have any discussion, board members?
No discussion.
All right. Seeing no discussion, if you could please.
Was that first Calhoun, second Dr. Little?
It was the
Dr. Little-
opposite.
Okay,
Dr. Little.
Motion.
Move.
Vice versa.
right people, wrong order. Thank you. There you go. Dr. Little, you wanted to give a verbal?
Yes,
Yes is your vote?
yes, I
Okay.
approve.
Okay,
I'm also giving a verbal.
okay. And your verbal vote is?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Oops, hold on. Oh, man, hold on. Been too long. That's a unanimous yes vote.
Moving to item number 3, request to address the Board of Trustees in closed session agenda matters. 3.01, request to address the Board of Trustees closed session agenda matters. Do we have anyone in the queue?
No.
Moving on to item 3.02, Compton Community College District Board of Trustees future agenda items requests. Board members, if you have an item, I will start at the far end of the table and mute your mic and please speak.
Okay, so, future agenda item. I would really like to have a PowerPoint on the welding shop with pictures on how it looks. Is it clean? What is the update on the investigation? Is everything fixed on getting fixed inside the welding department? I know you gave this board info and I would like an update about who, what, when, where, and how, and everything. And then, I'd like to know more about the esports. Is it happening? What's going on with it? How is that going? And that's it.
Any other board members?
No future agenda item requests.
None at this time.
I have none as well. Moving on to item, before we go to recess, I just want to acknowledge that Board Member Ramos is present. All right, it is 5:08 and we are going to recess.
We're reconvening to open session at 6:12. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Mims,
Present.
trustee Calhoun, trustee Dopplemore,
Present.
Dr. Little,
Present.
trustee Lopez,
Present.
President Ramos,
Present.
Dr. Curry.
Here. Moving on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Dopplemore, if you could please lead us.
You could read, please stand, place your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you.
You know, that's the first time I ever said the pledge where it hit me a different way.
Moving on to item 6. In closed session, the board took action to approve a memorandum of understanding and grievance settlement agreement between the district and the Compton College Federation of Employees Certificated Unit and 2 academic employees to resolve grievances of the employees. The roll call vote was as follows. 5 ayes. Now moving on to item 7, approval of the open session agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any corrections? And
No, there's no corrections.
is there any discussion from the board? With no further discussion, can we have the vote? It's a verbal vote for Dr. Little.
Yes.
My password is not working.
And I don't see mine. Did it come up? Verbal vote for student trustee names as well.
Okay, so trustee Calhoun, what's your vote?
Yes, it was working before.
Dr. Little? Trustee Ramos, are you logged in? Are you okay? Trustee Lopez, you're okay? And student trustee Mims?
Yeah.
That's a unanimous yes vote.
Moving on to item 9, request to address the Board of Trustees on agenda and non-agenda matters. 9.01, are there any requests to address the Board of Trustees?
Yes, we have one, Richard Earl from the Concerned Citizens of Compton. Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Earl. You'll have 3 minutes and they're gonna have that up there for you.
May not take that long. Good evening to the board. My name is Richard Earl. I'm the president of the Concerned Citizens of Compton. I'm here this evening about property that was given to the college by Mr. Oliver W. O'Connors. I was wondering, what is the college going to do with the property? And what is their intent with this property? Or will they become landlords or what? I know that you're building buildings out back to become landlords. Will we do the same thing or will we sell it? I know that you guys are having you're having a agenda or something on the agenda tonight about it. Well, yes. And I was wondering if we could get a copy of it, if it's possible. Also, I would like to know if we could get a copy of the all of the properties that were given to the college by Mr. O'Connors. And that would be it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to 9.02, Compton CCD, Board of Trustees, future agenda items requests. Trustees, do we have any items requests as of now? It'll come back again towards the end of the meeting. Item number 10, Board of Trustees meeting minutes for the October 13, 2025 Board of Trustees meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. Little and seconded by Trustee Lopez. Is there any discussion? Without any further discussion, can we have the vote?
I approve.
Thank you, Dr. Little. Trustee Calhoun, do you still need a verbal vote? Yes. Oh, yes, sorry. Student trustee Mims?
I approve.
Thank you. That's a unanimous yes vote.
Moving on to item 11, reports from representatives and employee organizations. 11.01, ASG report, Brielle Johnson.
Good evening, Board. ASU had a successful month. During October, we had activities for LGBTQ+, breast cancer awareness, and hosted trunk or treat for Compton College community. We also attended the CCC Student Leadership Academy, and this semester has flown by, and we are very excited for spring.
Academic Senate report, Dr. Sean Moore.
He mentioned, he sent an email this morning that he would not be able to make it due to illness.
CCC FE Certificated Employees Report, Dr. Professor Maruri, Carlos.
Board.
Good evening.
Hope you all managed to stay dry this weekend. My girls' team season ended. We did not finish with a winning record, and anything I say sounds like an excuse. So all I could say is we're gonna retool and come back stronger. I gave them 2 weeks off, and then we're gonna come back in December and we're gonna get going again. The boys' team is a whole totally different matter. They're just running around, and as long as I can corral them, I'm happy with that. I wanted to start off today by just confirming some things. Trustee Little, is your Compton email address slittle@compton.edu? All right. Trustee Dopplemore, is your email jdoplemore@compton.edu? All right. Trustee Lopez, is your email slopez@compton.edu? Excellent. Trustee Calhoun, is your email bcalhoun@compton.edu? All right. I'm making sure. That's why I'm making sure. Trustee Ramos, is your email aramos@compton.edu?
Yes.
Excellent. Today, we sent out our third email requesting a constituent meeting with you all individually, and we want to know if we can expect a response.
You're asking us, are we gonna meet with you?
Are you going to respond to our emails? We've sent out a third email today for a request for a meeting with you all. Thank you. All right. Well, I won't put you guys on the spot too much longer. Since we have not closed the contract, the faculty the union have a supermajority of faculty that have signed a strike pledge that reads as follows. I am united with my colleagues in calling on the Compton Community College District to make the following commitments. Bring employment stability to part-time and full-time faculty through unbiased evaluations and increased wages that reflect our training and offset the rising costs of living in Los Angeles County. Maintain current class size limits to support student success and supportive instruction. Invest in classroom instruction, counseling, and library services that directly aid student achievement. I will vote to authorize and will participate in a strike if the Compton Community College District refuses to commit to these reasonable measures that preserve student learning environments and faculty working conditions. Like I said, we now have a supermajority of faculty ready to go, and we're waiting on the district's next move. And that is all I have for you all today. Have a great evening. Stay dry.
CCCFE Classified Employees Report, Amenkwa McKenzie. I do not see him here. Moving on to item 12, presentations. Dr. Curry.
We have a couple presentations this evening for the Board of Trustees. The first presentation tonight is on the dual enrollment program, and I will have Vice President Nicole Jones introduce the speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Curry. Our first presentation this evening on dual enrollment is by Dr. Darlene Zarazu, who is the Director of Educational Partnerships.
Good afternoon, everyone, President Curry and boards of trustee and members of the community that are here tonight. I am going to go ahead and go over our dual enrollment board presentation for today. So the table of contents that I will go over is first what dual enrollment is at Compton College, and then dive deeply into the types of dual enrollment that we offer. I am going to spend a large amount of the presentation today covering our dual enrollment data, which contains important points on our headcount, broken down by gender and ethnicity, also broken down by success and retention, and then further breaking it down by participation and gender and ethnicity. Last, I'll go ahead and wrap up by our early outreach efforts and some of the main items that we're hoping to focus on for next academic year. So dual enrollment at Compton College. Compton College admits K-12 students who may have the ability to benefit from concurrently enrolling in college classes while still in high school to minimize equity gap for access. So dual enrollment continues to serve as one of Compton College's strongest equity and access strategies. This year, we enrolled 2,675 dual enrollment students, and they now make up 31.9% of the entire Compton College student population, meaning that nearly 1 in 3 students at Compton College first began college through our K-12 partnerships. So how are we able to achieve this amazing effort? We have different types of dual enrollment, which I will go ahead and cover now. So we do have 5 different dual enrollment programs that are available to our high school students and even our middle school students as well. We are focusing on extending our early outreach efforts to also try to onboard some elementary students, but we do require additional steps taken in that process to ensure that we're equitable in some of our strategies there. So I will go over a little bit more deeply which type of dual enrollment we offer and some of the requirements based of them, and if they're offered on our campus or if they're offered offsite as well. So traditionally, we have 5 dual enrollment programs, with the first one being our regular K-12 program, the second one being our afternoon college program, our third being Compton Early College High School, our fourth being our AB 288 or College and Career Access Pathways, and then lastly, our instructional service agreement with the California Academy of Math and Science camps located with Long Beach Unified and Compton Unified School District. So for regular K-12, it is open to high school students who are not part of a structured agreement with a K-12 school district. Through this program, students may enroll in any class except activity-based physical education, PE classes. This does exclude esports or even some physical education classes that are just covering through lecture-based strategies. Next is that students must submit all required enrollment documentation through the dual enroll system. We have actively enrolled students in our dual enroll system for about 1.5 years now, which has also led to an increase in our success for enrollment numbers as well. We are also onboarding students who may be in that middle school level, which is known as our K-8 program. These students must submit documentation directly to the Office of Admissions and Records, and then that office coordinates one-on-one visits with the Vice President of Academic Affairs if the meeting is needed in order to vet that the student can actually participate in a college level course. So what I do want to point out through our regular K-12 program is that since we launched our dual enroll partnership, we have served over 263 students from 109 different schools across California, with the highest enrollment coming from LA County, Inglewood, Lawndale, and Hawthorne. So by disaggregating that data, we hope to onboard new future partnerships as well. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So for our afternoon college program, courses are open to all students and are offered within 6 feeder high school districts. What you see on this table here is the demographic breakdown of the students at each one of our partner high schools with an afternoon college program. Afternoon college continues to show strong demand with over 200 students enrolled across 6 different high schools. This model is particularly impactful for students who cannot enroll during the traditional school day, but still want somewhat of a structured dual enrollment program that is supported that provides supported access to college courses. Next slide, please. Oh, thank you. All right, next we have our Compton Early College High School program, where students may earn their IGETC and or an associate degree in either the arts and general studies by the end of their senior year. Courses are open to all students, meaning that anyone from the general Compton College population can still go and partake in some of these classes. And currently, we serve 540 Compton Early College students who have filled 803 seats across all of our sections. This table gives you a breakdown of the enrollment by the student as well as their grade level. So you'll see that for 9th and 10th grade, students typically enroll in one course. As we get to 11th and 12th grade, students do take additional courses or may even go through a process of making up courses as well. Our early college program continues to be one of our highest performing pipelines. Course seats often exceed the headcount because students register for multiple different courses as they progress towards IETC completion, or by also submitting applications for additional AA degrees by the end of their high school year. This academic year, we onboarded a new early college program with the California Academy of Technology, and that is known as CTEC within Compton Unified. So next board presentation, we'll have data for that as well. Next slide, please. Next, we have our AB 288 or College and Career Access Pathways. This is a series of college courses that lead to an identified guided pathway. Courses are traditionally offered at the high school site and are integrated into the student's regular bell schedule. These courses are specifically closed off to other Compton College students, meaning that only students in an AB 288 program are able to participate in those courses. We currently have partnerships with 3 different high school districts, Compton, Paramount, and Linwood, where we're offering this type of structured program. Next slide, please. So first, I am going to go ahead and cover the data that we have for Compton Unified, who are traditionally on an IGETC transfer pathway. What you see covered in this table here is our enrollment count for the AB 288 pathway at Compton High School, where we have 212 students, Centennial High School, where we have 198, and Dominguez High School, where we have our highest recruitment at 253. Next slide, please. Next is our partnership with Linwood Unified. Our AB 288 students are represented by 2 different high schools here. On the left, we have 145 students participating in AB 288, and on the right, we have 148 students participating at Linwood High School. Next slide, please. Last, we have our partnership with Paramount Unified School District. These students are specifically on an administration of justice pathway, meaning that they, at the end of their courses, will be eligible to receive an administration of justice degree. If students do choose to enroll in additional courses, they may also qualify for additional associate degrees, but it really depends on their availability and them being able to take on those additional courses as well. This table represents our enrollment breakdown at Paramount High School West Campus, where we house our 9th grade students. And to the right, we have Paramount High School Senior Campus, where we house our 10th through 12th grade students. So you'll see that the students who are represented at Paramount West, which we have 68, will also move on to represent PHS Senior Campus as they move on throughout their grade levels. So I do want to close out our AB 288 pathways, as they do represent a large portion of our guided pathway enrollment and provide predictable year-to-year offerings benefiting both students and the high schools that we serve. Next slide, please. The next dual enrollment program that we have is with California Academy of Mathematics and Science, which is known as an instructional service agreement. This instructional service agreement offers pre-engineering instruction to students enrolled at CAMS in grades 9 through 12. We do traditionally offer 15 course sections that are open to all students. So again, any Compton College student can participate in this course. However, these numbers are only representing those that are actually in high school at CAMS. So you'll see that the table is broken down by the enrollment for every course that we offer at CAMS. The strongest indicators that I want to point out is that the CAMS ISA continues its role as Compton College's strongest STEM dual enrollment pipeline. We have a total of 486 total course registrations across engineering courses for fall 2025, and it's a significant indicator of sustained demand in engineering and pre-engineering majors. The highest enrollment volume across advanced course sequences go from ETech 110A all the way down to ETech 118, which validates a long-term pathway development for these students. Next slide, please. Next, we have our instructional service agreement with Compton Unified, which is new this academic year, where we are offering human development courses. So there are 15 course sections that are open to all students across the entire district. What you see in this table here is broken down by our enrollment in those human development courses at every specific high school. The highest representation of enrollment that we have is within Compton High School, second highest being Centennial, and Dominguez High School being the third at 78. So what I do want to close out the instructional service agreement model is that, again, it reduces access to barriers and it allows us to expand offerings without complex scheduling constraints. Next slide, please. So overall, I do want to close out our dual enrollment course registration by this table that is highlighted here. So again, we do have 4 different partner districts, and each one of our partner districts provides valuable support not only to our dual enrollment students, but also to our headcount. So you'll see it listed here. So overall, across all of the programs that I highlighted before, we have about 2,980 course registrations. Next slide, please. So now I'm going to go ahead and get into the much funner stuff, which is dual enrollment data. Next slide, please. So on this table here, you'll see our dual enrollment headcount. One thing that I want to point out is that we have significantly grown our dual enrollment numbers over the past 5 years. Since 2020 to 2021, we have now represented a 62% increase in our headcount for dual enrollment, and dual enrollment consistently represents 30% or more of the entire college headcount. So bringing back up to my point that about 1 in 3 Compton College students does represent a dual enrollment student type. Next slide, please. So now the even funner stuff, how do we break that down on gender and ethnicity and create new equity gaps and also strive for different success strategies? What you see represented here is our breakdown for our female and male students. So again, females do tend to be the highest enrolled dual enrollment students across all of our programs, with males being a little bit second higher. Next, we have the ethnicity breakdown, where we have Hispanic or Latino students representing the highest headcount among our dual enrollment programs, with the second highest being our Black or African American students. What I do also want to point out is we do also add in the additional ethnicities listed here, where we represent 329 students who may have opted in to have both of their ethnicities represented or more as well. Next slide, please. Okay. So now what I'm going to go ahead and cover here is our success and retention data. So what you see listed here for 2024-2025 is that we have achieved an 84% success rate, and for our dual enrollment retention, a 94% success rate. So overall, dual enrollment students succeed at a higher rate, at about 13% higher than our general Compton College population, where our retention number is also 10 points higher, which proves that we have a consistent trend for the past 5 years that demonstrates the impact of structured support, embedded pathways, and early engagement for our dual enrollment students. Next slide, please. What you see broken down here is our success rate equity trend. So like I've mentioned before, it is really important for us to break down who the demographics of our dual enrollment students are, identify equity gaps from there, and create new success strategies to be able to provide early outreach and support for our new students. What you see represented on this graph here is that both female and male dual enrollment success rates are about 20% higher than the general student population, while Black and African American students and Hispanic and Latino students trend higher as well. Next slide, please. What you see in these tables here are our dual enrollment participation by gender and ethnicity when it is compared to our high school total enrollment count. So what we've done is disaggregate the data for each one of our partner districts and taken their head count against the head count that we have for dual enrollment to ensure that we have equitable representation across the different student populations that we serve. What you see to the left side of that is our dual enrollment population when it is compared among our high school populations for all general students. And then to the right side of that, you will see our male dual enrollment population. So some of the main items that I want to point out here is that we do have low gaps when it comes to representation for our high school partners, strong outcomes for African American and Hispanic Latino students, and also multiracial students highlight the effectiveness of our equity-based approaches. And these breakdowns show a strong consistency across gender and ethnicity, with no large gaps in participation or achievement when it comes to representing our high school partners. Next slide, please. So we wouldn't be able to do all of this amazing work if it wasn't for, one, the multi-department collaboration that we have here at Compton College, but also the role of the dual enrollment specialists, where, one, they are assigned to different high schools across our partner districts. They do go off-site between the hours of 9 to 3 p.m., service students, support faculty along the way, and also ensure that our dual enrollment students feel not only do they have a home at their high school, but that they have a home here at Compton College as well. The role of the dual enrollment specialist, is that they manage early alerts. So again, we have noticed a trend of faculty members submitting these early alerts on time, which provides either students with the opportunity to know what their progress grade is, or if they have any other academic or personal-based early alert. Dual enrollment specialists then go and refer the student to either tutoring or other academic support services. They also may refer students to basic needs support. They provide registration checks for our high school partner and overall wrap it with our weekly high school visits. Next slide, please. So for the future, we are again working on our early outreach. So we are essentially sending out to our partner feeder areas parent and guardian letters from Compton College, and they will essentially encourage students and their families to enroll not only in dual enrollment courses, but also to engage our adult population and ensure that they have a home here as well. Next is that we're expanding outreach and support to middle schools to strengthen our K-8 dual enrollment. So as I shared before, we are working with a lot of partner middle schools to ensure that they're able to have the afforded opportunity to participate in dual enrollment, and also seeing how we can expand that program as well. Lastly, we have established a step-by-step process for high school students where they submit the standard application via our CCC Apply. They receive a student ID number, they activate their My Compton account, and then from there, create a dual enrolling account, complete the required consents that are required by either our high school partners or our partners here at the college, and then successfully register for their courses. And for us, it was really important for the students to be able to see clearly what the step-by-step guide is to participate in dual enrollment, and that they know what support is at every step of the way. Next slide. And that is all for me. I would like to open the floor for questions.
Trustees, Trustee Calhoun.
Yeah. So, page 11, you see the page 11? Yeah, page 11. I know that you have the numbers down there, like 212, 196, and, well, 212 from Compton, 196 from Centennial, and 253 from Dominguez. Out of all the students from each one of those schools, they all qualified for dual enrollment and they did attend? That's where you got the number from?
Correct.
Okay, I'm not through. Hold on. So that would be for the same for 12. So I have another question. On page, you just said something and I got to go back to page 16.
Sorry.
It's okay. On page 16, where you have the 2,000, no, 2,980. And that's for high school, for all the high schools. And the course registrations, are you saying this is the course registration? How many actually have?
So this is represented by the seats that are filled in our enrollment.
Say it again.
This is represented by the seats that are filled in dual enrollment. So across all of the 4 partner districts that are listed, each student fills up about 2,980 course registrations.
So do they all end up completing the dual enrollment? After the registration is here, they start the dual enrollment. Does the number stay the same? Does it drop or what?
So typically, as our students do move on either to different high schools or move across districts, we do work with those students to identify if they are moving to a different high school that offers that program, to see if there's a seat for them to stay within the program. But unfortunately, for a lot of our programs, they do not lose numbers, meaning that then they have to go and see if they can get on a waiting list for the application. And then from there, as the program either starts losing students, which is pretty rare, then we see if they can find a gap to be able to get back inside into that program and complete the program overall. But to answer your question, unfortunately, we do lose some students on a semester basis.
So are the students aware prior to them probably going to another high school? Are they aware what will happen and then they might not get back on it?
Correct. Yes. So we do offer a dual enrollment orientation where we let the student know the demands of participating in their dual enrollment program. From there, we let them know if it's either a 2-year or a 4-year route, what their expectations are by joining the program. And if they do consider that either they're moving away for certain situations, that again, we do try to work with those students to maybe get them back enrolled through dual enrollment through our regular K-12 program, where we do partner them with one of our dual enrollment counselors to be able to verify, can the student continue a pathway that's affordable now at their high school.
All right, let's go to page 19, please. Okay, so this is just me. I don't like this. I don't like where you say other ethnicities. What are you talking about?
So this is data that's gathered directly from the CCC apply. So if students do select multiple ethnicities and they choose to be identified by one or more, then they are lumped in this category.
But they say what they are.
Correct. Or they also choose the two or more.
No. They say what they are. If they might say they're Latino, they might say they're
Correct.
African American. They say what they are.
Correct, yes.
Okay, if they say what they are, I'm just asking a question because I don't know. If they say what they are, why are they in this one?
So not provide duplicated efforts so that they wouldn't add additional numbers to the Black or African American population as well as a Hispanic or Latino if they feel that they're represented by both ethnicities or more.
I understand that somebody could be African American and they can be Latino. I got that. And although I understand it, that's 329 students that's not in either one of the categories. You just call them other.
We can add additional gender and ethnicity breakdown based off all of the ethnicities that are represented on the application, if that's something you would like to see for next board.
I thought that would be I figured you would get what I was going to. Okay, I didn't want to keep saying it, but I think that there should be something so that they can be counted exactly as to whom they identify with and what ethnicity they identify with. I think there should be, my opinion, but I think there should. I don't think that, I hate that word other. That's just me. Because they are identifying themselves, even though they're saying Black and Latino, they are still identifying themselves. And when we categorize them as other, I'm gonna get off this topic. To me, when you categorize them as others, you are leaving them out. It's just like if they were going for their ancestry. We all know that we're mixed with all different. So even in our ancestry, we'll put down Irish and all like that, right? So that we know that we have all that within our ancestry. So I just think you're losing something. I think you're losing something by saying other. But I'm not through. You mentioned something on one of these pages. I'm gonna go back to it. All right. Page 21. You got the category, and you have dual enrollment success rate, and then you have Compton College success rate, right? So dual enrollment for female was 86, and then for Compton College success rate, it went to 66. Explain that to me.
So this represents our dual enrollment headcount when it's counted against the general Compton College headcount. So who the 2,675 dual enrollment students represent as a success rate when compared to the overall.
Oh, okay. Then I don't have to ask you the next questions about the rest of them being lower. Okay. There's got to be an explanation for that. And then, all right, early outreach, page 25, the last one before the question. All right, so not that you would know my area. So I'm area 2. So my area is from Mona Boulevard to Broadway, which is by Athens Park off of El Segundo. And then I go from Rosecrans all the way to Imperial, right? I don't know all the zip codes, but I could get them. I'm constantly being told by a majority of the residents that they never receive anything from Compton College. When I talk to them, I let them know that you are in Compton College area. And they say, no, I'm in El Camino. I say, no, you're in Compton College. They never receive anything from Compton College. Now, if I have to look at the zip codes, I could help you out. But I'm just letting you know, in area 2, and I think inside the board docs, there's a a thing. When I say thingamajig, I'm sorry. It's just, I can't think. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just letting you know that there are a lot of residents that are not receiving information about Compton College. I can give you one, 959. Now, May Thomas does get it. She makes sure she gets it, but 959, a lot of them do not receive it. And so if I go to Imperial, what's that other zip code? I used to know them off the top of my, I'm just saying, so I don't know what needs to be done or what maps you're going by, but these residents think that El Camino and Southwest is their area. And so I'm really tired of fighting them.
So trustee Calhoun, when you receive that, can you let us know? Because that comes out of community relations. And so when we had an issue a couple years ago with that trustee Dopplemore, we went and looked into it and were able to find out. So I know you said 90059. Is there another zip code that you, or if somebody gives you, they say they're not getting it, can you please just share the zip code with us? And we could double check everything to make sure they're getting it.
Okay.
But I got the 90059.
Okay, I can do that.
One thing I do want to add, we did have a partnership, which is still ongoing with Ed America, which is a re-enrollment solutions company. What they've done is placed geofencing ads based off the trustee map. So let's say, for example, somebody was playing Candy Crush or something like that, they will see an ad from Compton College saying, we want you to re-enroll, or we are your home college. So they do see that based off the zip codes.
Who sees that?
The local residents from the nearby communities from our trustee feeder map.
Oh, okay. My area, they don't see it. So I'm gonna do like Dr. Curry say, so we won't go back and forth.
So trustee Calhoun, what's being talked about is a strategy which is on social media.
I know.
In regards to geofishing.
I
And
know.
based off of, so that's another marketing strategy, but it's connected to the trustee areas. But I think what you're asking for is different, is based off the mail that goes to them and not social media. And I
Exactly.
got it.
Thank you. Your report was very in-depth. You presented it very well, and I do thank you for that. Thank you.
Trustee Dopplemore?
Yes, can you repeat the partner again that is actually doing the social media?
Ed America.
Ed America,
Mhm.
thank you. And also I just to clarify, thank you.
Before you go to clarification, I think it's important, I'm sorry, trustee Dopplemore, is that they're not doing social media. It was a re-enrollment engagement campaign that they were working on. And so it's very clear based off of students who were enrolled at Compton College prior to, I think it was 2020 or 2021, who did not come back, and trying to engage those students to come back to our campus. So I'm gonna be very clear about that. It was a re-enrollment campaign of former students who did not register, who did not come back to Compton College. Yes.
Or is that, are there plans to continue that re-enrollment campaign?
I think we could, one of these, I don't want to, because it's not connected to this presentation, but we can't share information in regards to the campaign and provide more information at the next board meeting, but we have to make a decision. Is this something that we're going to move forward with based off the budget, and was it worth the money that we spent through enrollment management? But that's different than what we're doing with the dual enrollment, but we can provide more information on that.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that clarification. So my question is just to clarify, and I do appreciate you providing the all the different type of dual enrollment programs that we offer. So for Paramount, sorry, I'm trying to pull it up. Okay, thank you. So for Paramount, just to clarify, so for I believe it's number 2. No, I'm sorry, number 4, the AB 288, that is the Justice Partnership program. Can't write it. Can't find it right here. The Administrative Justice. That's for the AB 288. Correct. And then for the number 2, which would be
the afternoon college, does that reflect the numbers where you have listed Odyssey and?
So the additional like alternative and other instructional based schools like Odyssey and Buena Vista, those are our afternoon college courses.
Okay, so that's number two. So are those the only two programs that the traditional or the district Paramount is participating in? Or
For-
they,
Well, we do have students enrolling as regular K through 12. So for example, if the course or the time that's either offered at Odyssey or Buena Vista for afternoon college courses do not work with them, then they do traditionally also enroll as regular K through 12, where they might find an online course or maybe even a course here on our campus.
okay, so they do have the option to participate in number one. And then what about, with being in close proximity, is it possible that they can also participate in number five? And I'm speaking in terms of location for some of the students.
We have had on a case-by-case basis, students who either need to make up a class that's offered through a different AB 288 high school, right? For I'll take the perfect example, like Linwood Unified, right? A student that is enrolled at Linwood High School may have not passed a class that is then being offered at Fireball High School the next semester. On those case-by-case basis, they do need to talk to each other and say, does the enrollment count permit for the student to take this course, and then from there see if the space fits for to be able to get the student enrolled and to complete that course that's in their pathway.
Okay, and does that just, those additional one-off scenarios, you just handle those on a case-by-case basis? Or is it something like that that comes up proactively when you're doing your traditional outreach?
It is something that comes up proactively because, again, we do have a counselor that is off-site at each one of the high schools once a week. Not only is their responsibility to work on ed plan for these students, but they also provide progress grade trackers, meaning that not only are they reviewing final grades posted for prior semesters, but they're also independently meeting with these students to talk to them, maybe if they're not doing so well in a class or they fear that they might not pass, to properly advise them on maybe our drop deadlines, and then going from there, seeing when they can take the course again. So it is something that's done proactively.
Okay, thank you. And regarding the ed plans and the outreach with the counselors, do they rotate between the different feeder schools, or they're on a regular schedule and they rotate?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. That is all I have, Chair.
Dr. Little?
Thank you again for the presentation. And I just have a couple of follow-up questions, just starting with the last one in terms of the percentage difference between the dual enrollment students and the overall Compton College student body. Are there some like identified interventions that would account for these differentials, like the one-on-one, the tracking of the ed plan? Because you said all students have to have an ed plan and dual enrollment. So I'm just wondering if there are other interventions or inputs that we can look to help maybe raise the overall student body.
I will say one thing that we're doing a little bit more proactively as well is disaggregating the data for students who created an account who also did not register, and then from there providing additional outreach points saying, you know, you finished this step, now continue the process and go on to this step. We've also sent out targeted communications where we let these students know that the next registration period will open soon and about how much time it will take them to complete the rest of the process so that they're able to participate by next semester or even by next session.
Okay, but thank you for that answer. And then, but also these rates that are on page 23 are actuals of students who persist, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so not tonight, but it would be good to maybe get an itemization of the various inputs or interventions beyond the coursework that may lend insight into the differences between success rates. Another question that I had, and I'm so sorry. First on page 14 for CAMS, what would be, or do we have that data around what would be their home school? I know it's listed as LBUSD, but do we have that somewhere to say they might have been in Compton or they might have been in Linwood?
CAMS is their homeschool.
But most of them, you don't have to live in that area. You can live in different areas. So that's what I mean.
So are you asking based off of the students who apply from CAMS or from CAMS, looking at the data, looking at their address, finding out what zip codes they're coming from? They're taking the courses? You want to
Right,
know that?
because it's not restricted by their physical. They
No.
have to get admitted to
Yeah,
CAMS,
yeah.
and they can come from
So
different,
you're asking for the zip code breakdown of CAMS students?
pretty much. Yeah, I'm trying to see if it's local students, just not at Compton or some of the other schools, and if they're further, want to know that as well. And then when asking about on page 16 at the top, are these courses strictly HD, human development courses? Is that what you were explaining? The instructional service agreement?
These are, yes, so only the ones that are being offered between CAMS and Compton Unified.
Okay. And those GE classes?
They depending on the actual course that's being offered, because some of our high school partners are opting in, let's say for a 1 unit course versus 3 unit course or 5 unit course. So it really depends on the high school's assessment of what the students want to participate in. But we are building out sequences for these.
And so, not tonight, but it would be great, just for my own clarification, because technically, if they do the dual enrollment for 2 years, they can graduate with an AA, right? So I don't know where it's captured here, how many actually, I didn't know if the success rate, I don't think it is equivalent to graduation rate or degree attainment. So I don't know if it's captured in this presentation, but it would be good to know of these 2890 students, how many actually achieve their degree, their AA. And then just a clarification on the bottom of page 16, the 2980 is actually students, not courses.
It's course registrations.
So can one student register in two? So what's our real net, our real N of students?
2,675.
Okay, so you just have a few taking more than one?
Correct.
Okay. And then similar to what Trustee Calhoun had asked about the other ethnicities, I know it could be, biracial or categories, but we do have other either single or perceived single, let me put it in quotes, like Asian or indigenous. It would be good to know that as well, because they're represented in the community. Thank you for your, as I said, rates when you talk about student success. Is there any way to get the information on post either dual enrollment? Like, where do these students go? We know we had a report about, we had a smaller number who came to Compton College, for example, but do we have like 4-year placement or graduation rates or vocational workforce placement? Something like that would be really interesting to see the impact of participating in dual enrollment.
We can get that for you.
But I think it's bigger than the question, Trustee Dr. Little, because now you're talking about return on investment, what happens with students with regards to employment. So one is the employment data from EDD and also from another area that we are looking into, but then also linking it to the National Student Clearinghouse data as well. One of my thoughts on this as we look at return on investment and economic mobility is really looking at our dashboards and how do we lay that out, because it goes right into your question regards to what happens to the high school students who complete the dual enrollment, what happens to them 5 to 10 years down the road. So I think as we work on this economic return on investment and economic mobility framework, I think that's a question that we need to be able to ask as we do this work, because that's the whole picture. And I think this is a great question to ask, but I want to try to tie that into the ROI and the economic mobility conversation that we're talking about later on tonight and working on now for the campus as a part of that framework, because it feeds right into what your question is.
Thank you. And that's exactly where I'm going, because especially if we already looking at the differential with the success rates, and then if we can track, if it is from an affordability, for example, standpoint, if it's cutting down on cost and students are entering as juniors, if they're actually getting their AA degrees, and then moving into that, it's condensing the amount of time, putting them into the workforce earlier, putting them into living wages earlier. And again, just that whole aggregation of those inputs and outcomes would be really, really important.
One thing that I do want to add to that point, with the Connor Promise program and with the launch of our first year experience program, we are also working backwards to disaggregate the data of our dual enrollment participants who may have not completed their degree at their high school site, and then providing intentional and targeted recruitment for them so that they can come as a first year student and then start thinking about transfer pathways much earlier as well.
So it could still condense maybe a semester or even a year by following up to say that for myriad reasons, they could have been in sports or other programs and could not take the number of requisite courses to get the degree, but they have still a step ahead, because I think that narrative also needs to be told. As a former, before it was called dual enrollment student right here at Compton College, it had a profound impact because many of the students graduate early or go into vocation. My own neighbor who graduated went into the sheriff's department, but he graduated Dominguez at 20. And it makes a difference, especially in this economy. Thank you.
Trustee Lopez, nothing.
Thank you for the report.
I have a few questions. If you could go to slide 7, regular K through 12. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but would this include, like, let's say students from that live in the district but they don't attend the school? Like, let's say they attend a private school or their parent works in Downey or Orange County and they take their child over there.
So this can be composed of students who are enrolled like charter schools, private schooling systems, or even with our local partner districts, but they're not counted for in our structured program. So like AB 288.
Okay. So then they are included in the stats right here.
Correct.
And how is it for like for summer school? Can the percentages can the data be disaggregated? Like, what's the percentage? You're saying that they make up 31%, but is it lower? Is it higher during the summer?
We can get that data.
Thank you. And is it difficult for a student to take multiple classes during the summer? Like, let's say they're not enrolled in their high school and they don't want to be home, because I've been asked by more than one parent, their kid's just at home and they don't want to be there. So how does it change for the student when they're not physically attending their high school during the summer? How do we make it easy for them to attend classes here on campus?
I think it works again on a case-by-case basis, right? Because even with summer having 2 different enrollment sessions, a student who may decide to participate in a course that's maybe 5 units may not permit enrollment for second 6-week session, right? So it really depends on what the student would like to participate in over the summer, or if there's classes that they need to make up, then that's where the priority goes as well, so that they can continue to be back on board if they're in a structured program.
I don't like asking for more, but can we also have data like for the summer? Like, how many of those students do we have the data of how many of them are enrolled to make up a course?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, thank you. And also, do we have percentages of like what's the percentage of the enrollment that's taking place physically at their high school and what's being taken over here on our physical campus?
So the data disaggregation that covers our AB 288 or our students who are participating in courses at the local high school is oftentimes compared through our Argos reporting. So the dual enrollment specialists do their data reporting, where not only do they do the accurate head count for the courses offered at the high schools, but they also do a reverse search by ID number, where they pull courses that are offered for the general Compton population, meaning online courses or courses here on our campus. So we do have that data available.
Thank you. That's all I had. Thank you for this presentation. You provided a lot of information. No. Thank you, Dr. Sarasu. Thank you for that presentation. Dr. Curry.
The next presentation that we'll have introduced is Vice President Jones can introduce the Oliver W. Connor College Promise Program, please.
Thank you, President Curry. Our next presenter is Mario Hernandez. He is our Outreach and Promise Coordinator from the Department of Educational Partnerships, and he will be presenting on the Oliver W. Connor College Promise Program.
Thank you, VP Jones. Good evening, President Curry, members of the board, members of the community, and all of the other attendees. I want to just take a quick second to reintroduce myself. My name is Mario Hernandez. I am the Outreach and Promise Coordinator, and I'm here to share some data with you about the Promise Program. So first, I want to thank you for your time. And like I mentioned, I'm going to be walking you through what the Promise Program is and what we're doing and what the data is showing and where we're heading next. I want to quickly mention that a lot of what you'll hear and learn today is possible because of the Oliver W. Connor donation and because of our student service advisors who are at our partner high schools every day. First, I will start with an overview of the Promise program. I will then move on to the data. I will follow by talking about the steps and finalize by showing you all the current application and making some time for some questions. All right, the Compton College Connor Promise Program. The Connor Promise Program began as a local partnership focused on reducing financial barriers for recent high school graduates. It has now expanded into an open access pathway for any first-time college student, whether full-time, part-time, recent graduates, or adult students returning to college for the first time, or attending college for the first time, excuse me. This shift has allowed for us to reach more students and make college more accessible across our community. I will then start listing some of the benefits. Our goal is simple. We want to reduce financial stress so that students can focus on learning. The Connor Promise program waives enrollment fees, provides book and supply support, offers loaner technology, and gives student support by providing them with prior registration. We also highly encourage our students to join support programs like FYE and EOPNS. And we notice that when they do, their persistence and completion rates jump significantly. I'm going to share some of the current eligibility for the requirements for the program. The Promise program eligibility is directly connected to the steps to enrollment. So students need to apply, complete their financial aid application, whether it's the FAFSA application or the CADA application. Students also need to meet with a counselor. They need to complete the new student orientation and enroll in a minimum of 6 units. I do want to mention that there is an exception for SRC students who qualify for a lower unit count. Students who complete all steps to enrollment early are usually students who consistently persist at higher rates. I want to quickly also mention that although all students are required to apply for financial assistance, we do have students who exert the income limitations, but the Promise program takes care of those students by waiving their enrollment fees, and that is done through the foundation. I want to then share with you the new requirement that's going to be happening starting next fall 2026. So again, beginning fall 2026, students will submit a summer application rather than a fall application, and this will be consistent with the participation in the first year experience program summer bridge component. This update comes from the alignment between Promise and FYE. Promise will be removing the financial barriers for students, while FYE will be focusing on providing access in academic preparation and structure for students. As part of the expansion, students will need to complete 2 financial aid years application, one for the current academic year, which will be in the summer, and then one for the upcoming year, which will be from fall to spring. I will then talk about the cost savings for students. So without the Promise students, a first-time student would normally pay between $922 in enrollment fees per year. With Promise, that cost drops to $94. Promise also waives up to 15 units per term, helping students progress through their education pathway a lot faster. I will then now go into the data for the Promise program. The Promise program was launched in spring 2019 with the goal to increase access and completion for the local graduates. The partnership started with Compton College, Compton Unified School District, and Linwood Unified School District. Since then, our outreach has expanded to a total of 17 partner high schools. Early impact. In 2019, in the academic year 2019-2020, we had over 170 applicants. Not all became Promise students, but 80% did complete the steps to enrollment. This was one of the first indicators of interest and helped us begin building the persistent tracking systems that we use today. I want to share some key insights. Students that participated in Promise and enrolling in FYE or PNS persist at much higher rates. One thing that we have also noticed is the financial aid remains to continue to be one of the biggest barriers that students face. Many students actually end up stopping their process at the FAFSA or CADA application. District partnerships remain strong, and the addition of the Paramount Unified School District really expanded our reach. Lastly, I want to share that there is a strong interest from students from all the districts and CTE and all the different transfer pathways that we have here at Compton College. Broadening and access and equity. From 2022 to 2024, the Promise program, Counter Promise program expanded from district-based eligibility to open access for all first-time college students. The shift increased applicants from 122 to more than 300. The next challenge that we faced was conversion, moving students from interest to active enrollment, and this is where the Promise program and FYE partnership will be more impactful. The CRM Recruit implementation. For the CRM Recruit implementation, that was improved, and it allowed us to improve on how we track student applicants, communicate with those students, and intervene when they encounter barriers. And completing the steps to enrollment. It also allowed us to strengthen the connections and entry phases that supports the Compton 2035 goal, which is access, equity, and completion. I'm now going to share some data with you. You can see on the screen the applicants by district. So in the academic year 2019-2020, we had 174 applicants, and the burgundy color is the Linwood district. The light gray color is the Paramount district. The pink color is the Compton Unified School District, and the dark gray color is the other applicants, which is usually encompassed by students who are not from any of our partner districts. In the 2021 year, you can see that there's a bit of a gap on that data. That's mostly due to COVID. And for that year, we serviced a total of 121 students. Then for the 21-22 year, there is a growth on the numbers. You can see that we service a total of 216 students. Then we move on to the 22-23 year. You can see that there's a decrease in the numbers, and that can very easily be explained. There is some data that we are currently trying to track. So for some reason, this data was not tracked on the current version of the Counter Promise application. So I am actively trying to find that data, and I will make sure that that's on there for the next board presentation that I will share with you. For the 23-24 academic year, you can see again a growth on the number of students who are applying to the Promise program. Is at 315, and then for the current year, we're looking at 363. So I just want to share the steady growth that the program has shown over the years. There we go. All right. I will now talk to you about the enrollment by eligibility type. So if we're looking at the graph, the red students are students who became Promise students. The light gray is students who enrolled at Compton but did not meet the unit requirement. And then the pink students will be the students who applied to Promise but never enrolled. And then the dark gray will be students who met all but one requirement. So that could have been maybe not completing the orientation or financial aid. It could have been any of those steps. The takeaway from this slide is essentially that the interest is high, but financial aid and missing steps are the primary barriers. So our alignment with the FYE program is designed to address some of these gaps. All right. This next graph is representing the demographics. This slide is going to show the enrollment by race and ethnicity. You can see that the Latino community participation is very high, which aligns with one of our service areas. The African American participation is lower than what we want, and this data helps us shape targeted strategies to increase early engagement and awareness. And then, excuse me. And then here are some more demographics for this one. I want to show that the female students consistently make up a larger number of the Promise participants, and then the male participation remains low across all years. But I do also note that this reflects the national trends, but also highlights the opportunities for more targeted engagement. All right, I will now move on to the next steps. All right. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the coordinator outreach. So this slide is going to highlight our coordinator outreach approach from early awareness through enrollment support. One of the things that we want to pilot this upcoming spring is going to be Promise Nights. During this workshops, students will be allowed to participate and stay after school to complete any missing steps to enrollment. We're going to track the participation data through the Promise application and the Compton College interest form. With the support of President Curry, we've identified some funds within the Promise budget to provide pizza during these sessions, because we know that whenever we have food at any of our workshops, this increases turnout with students. I'm going to then move on to the early outreach. Early outreach begins with families. It's something that we believe very strongly. We're going to start distributing parent or guardian letters about and updating recruitment videos, and we're going to make them available both in English and Spanish. This is going to help families understand Promise, and it's going to create familiarity for students who are going to come here. I want to point out that the letters and the videos are going to be geared towards dual enrollment, but they can then be leveraged by Promise by, again, exposing the students early to Compton College and all the services that we offer. Okay, I will now share with you all the application. If you have an opportunity, you can scan it. Again, you'll see that the first semester available going forward is going to be summer 2026. Again, that's the plan that we're trying to roll out going forward. And again, we're encouraging earlier submission for students for next year so that they can participate in the FYE summer bridge component. I will now open up the floor for questions, but before I do want to say that Promise removes financial barriers, and with the help of FYE, we're going to remove also academic barriers. Together, we're going to be able to give students a stronger foundation for success. This work is directly going to support the access, equity, and completion that aligns with Compton 2035. I want to also acknowledge again the Oliver W. Connor donation and our student services advisors. Their work is what makes the program possible. And like I said, thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Trustees. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for your report. I want to make sure I might have misheard. I heard you say something about 17 schools.
Yes.
What slide was that on? It wasn't there, huh?
It was not on there, no. It will be there for the next presentation.
Okay. because I was looking for the schools. When y'all stand up there and say something, we catch it sometimes, sometimes we don't. So anyway, okay, so I caught that one. Page, somebody else probably caught it too. Um, page 12. Where you have where it say financial aid gap, it say many eligible students delayed enrollment due to what kind of barriers are they having?
So a lot of the times, students are not knowledgeable enough to complete the application. Sometimes they are the dates that the application workshop is held at their school for any number of reasons, they might not be present. There could be a number of reasons that that could be happening, but I can definitely look into it further so I can give an update on that.
So they do it at their schools, they don't do it here?
It can happen either or. So we do have some of the events that happen here on campus. Like for example, preview day. On that day, we invite all the districts that we partner with to come for the students to complete all steps to enrollment, including the financial aid application. So when they do come, that is one of the workshops that we offer for them.
Okay, so is something printed where they know that they can get help and ask questions about the FAFSA before they even get involved with it? You know, when it comes to filling out the CADA and the FAFSA. What information is given to them? Is it given to them from their schools or given to them from Compton College? Because you said they can come here, but what are the other schools doing so that the students know to apply for that so it won't be a barrier? Is there literature going out? Is it going to their houses? How are the students? So there won't be any more barriers.
Trustee Calhoun, I'm gonna jump in on this one a little bit because of
Okay.
I think the FAFSA and the CADA barriers is it's a systematic issue.
You're
And
right.
what I mean by that is that you look at our three districts, they all have partnerships with the California Student Aid Commission to be able to work on a FAFSA application and also the Cal Grant applications. And so we have to do a better job of coordination because last year when we had the Cast for College event, some of our K-12 partners did not participate because they already did it. And so how do you coordinate these efforts regards to enrollment as relates to financial aid as well? And one of these that we've been doing work with our K-12 districts is on these strategic plans to 2035, because this is one of our issues, because it's not only about getting the student's application early on for our institution, but then also make sure they complete those the steps to enrollment, but financial aid is another piece of that as well. But also I would tell you in my meetings with the outreach staff, one of the issues that I have is that we get our transcript data from our K-12 partners. We should know by ninth grade which students are not going to make the A through G requirements. And those are students that we should be recruiting for our Oliver W. Common Promise program, where we're actively recruiting them. So then when they do become seniors, we know who is in that group that we know that are not meeting A through G, who are looking at going to community college, is that we're providing them with the financial aid information from FAFSA and also CADA's applications ourselves. But it's a systematic thing. And we have to make sure that we have a strategic plan with our K-12 partners regards to our strategic plan with them through 2035, but then also taking a realization that not every student is going through the financial aid applications at the K-12, and how do we identify the ones who are potentially going to be a Oliver W. Connor Promise student? And the way we do that is by rethinking the way we do our recruitment, utilizing the transcript data that we get for our students, identifying those students in ninth grade, and work with those students 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, not just going to their classroom in their senior year for government or economics and talk about Compton College. We're talking to them in a 9th and 10th grade year. And then those are the students we want to make sure that they have the financial aid application done. But systematically, there's a problem. And we have to be able to work our K-12s to fix that, but also make sure that we're doing it different regards to how we do our outreach for potential students, and not waiting to the senior year, but starting in the 9th grade year, looking at the transcripts. We already have the data.
Right.
So we have to change our approach, because we should be able to send those 9th grade students, 10th grade, 11th grade, every year information about Compton College, because we're recruiting them. Because we already know they do not meet the A through G requirements.
Right.
But you're right. There's a systematic problem regards to the FAFSA and CADA application and making sure that there's no barriers. But the biggest barrier is making sure those students submit that application. The other issue we saw was this how the Cal Grant information submitted based off all the GPA verification, and the K-12s are responsible for uploading, and they have to upload that in a timely manner as well. But then also taking into account students who are in dual enrollment, making sure that their grades from our campuses are included in that upload. So that's one of the barriers that's there as well.
Okay, so I'm gonna come at you too, on page 15. What do you think I'm gonna ask you?
We're gonna talk about the other category, right?
There you go, there you go.
And I figure once we touched the subject earlier, but I do want to share. I think the way it's done, or the reason why it's done this way, is to simplify the data and to not have multiple different bars to then later on maybe misread the data. But I do see your point, and I will also take that into note to make sure that that's better explained this thing.
Okay, because I don't care how many bars it is. I hate that other. So, and of course, since you already answered it, that would have been the same question for page 16, page 17, and page 18, so you don't have to go into it. I just want to let you know that I did catch it. Thank you for such an in-depth report. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Hernandez.
Hello.
So if you could just clarify again, in your opening when you were talking about the Oliver W. Connor Promise Program, you mentioned that the promise addresses financial aid barriers, and you said FYE addresses something else. Can you tell me what that was again? I'm sorry. Just
Yes, yeah. So I was saying that the Oliver W. Connor Promise Program, it's going to, or addresses the financial needs of students and removes those financial barriers, while the first year experience program focuses on removing any academic barriers. So, assisting students through and guides them through the processes to make sure that they're successful academically.
Okay, thank you. And the barriers, continuing on the barriers, so how do we, suggestions or recommendations on how we can overcome the barriers and challenges that you've identified? I know you stated financial aid or funding being a main barrier, but how do you suggest or recommend that we overcome those barriers?
I can definitely share that. If I believe I talked about it in one of the slides, we do encounter some students who exceed the income limits of what's permitted by FAFSA or the CADA. Those are what we call our high EFC students. Through the Oliver W. Connor Promise Foundation, we are able to cover the fees for those students. And the other part, for students who do qualify for financial aid, for any kind of financial assistance, I think working with the financial aid department to better educate our students or any possible Compton Promise students who might be interested in coming to Compton College, educate them better on how to fill out those applications and the requirements.
And what are the, because I know we have other listed as well, but in addition to, say, English and Spanish, what other, do we provide those applications or translation services when that information is being provided? Are we making that available to the families and the students? Or have we ran into that challenge before?
I will be honest, I don't know the answer to that. I believe that the financial aid department does have information for both English and Spanish, but I will need to confirm that.
Okay, and I'm speaking in terms of making language access available to our students. I know that with the FAFSA and CADA application, that it is available, as well as some of the Cash for College. I know that they are that they do provide additional languages for those presentations. But I was speaking mainly for like when we're providing it, if there's a need, if we can address that need as well in terms of a barrier. Go ahead, Dr. Curry. Go ahead. Dr. Curry, you can say something.
Yeah, I am. But I just want to go back to my earlier comment about the financial aid and the linkage to the College Promise Program and potential students. I do see that there's a concern regards to that and how do we connect our students to financial aid. And that's big. If you look at the student centered funding formula, how do we make sure that students are applying for Pell and also for the College Promise Program from the state, which is the former Board of Governor fee waiver. So we acknowledge that. But I also think there's a systematic issue here, that's not just on us, it's the system. And the way the system is being created regards to financial aid, it's the onus of the responsibility is on the community college, the four-year colleges, and also K-12 districts to ensure that students are aware and are completing the FAFSA application, completing the College Promise application for community colleges. But it has to be more coordination between all the entities as relates to that to make sure that all students are submitting their information, their application in a timely manner. The biggest barrier I see is the lack of coordination among all entities, because not one entity could be able to do it all themselves. And I don't want to lose sight of that, because that's where our strategic plans with our K-12 districts is important, because then we can be able to say who's responsible for what as relates to FAFSA, especially on our end with our prospective students. Dr. Z, you want to say something?
Yeah, I also want to add, I think one large portion that we are missing when it comes to actually collecting the data for completion for financial aid or DREAM Act application, we have a lot of students who are impacted by a lot of the immigration rates that are going on and who have actually disclosed that they will not be completing applications due to security reasons. So that's one large portion that we're working not only with the California Student Aid Commission, but we're also ensuring that we provide support to students where they see fit. So properly educating them on what it means to complete a financial aid application versus a DREAM Act application. And from there, what the next steps are, how the departments are actually sharing data and how that information is being passed on. But also at the end of the day, letting students know that we're here for them when it comes to filling out the application. We can't overpromise students when it comes to providing them a safe haven with those actual applications that are completed, but we really do our best to support them in understanding what it means to fill out the application and what the repercussions are by not filling one out as well. The other thing that I also want to address as a former outreach and promise coordinator is that we do work closely with a lot of nonprofits in the area who want to partner for Cash for Colleges. We do identify that there's several different languages spoken within our nearby communities. And then from there, also asking them to provide additional translation services. What we're working on for this year is actually providing those type of documentations in Spanish, where we're also extending the opportunity for not only students to come, but extending the opportunity for their families and their legal guardians. So ensuring that they also feel properly educated and informed on what it means to participate in their students' journey.
And this year, we have our Cash for College event. It's in partnership with Unite LA, and it's scheduled for sometime in January. And I can provide the date, January 31st. And we'll provide that to the Board of Trustees.
Thank you again. And I was gonna get to that part. But what I will say, Mr. Hernandez, in regards to just the data, one thing that I've noticed where you talked about the year 22-23, that is also the year when CSAC went to the all-in financial aid campaign, where they pretty much made it like a requirement. So back to Doctor, tell me your name again one more time.
Sarazu.
Dr. Sarazu, what she mentioned about some of those fears that some of our undocumented or mixed status families were experiencing during that time period. So that's probably another area that you can look at, where you can go back and try to see if you can capture some of that data. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation. I just have a quick clarification question on page or slide 16. What does the not enrolled category mean in this bottom set?
These are students who completed a application for the Connor Promise program, but did not actually enroll in any units.
So our N of 363 is just inclusive of applications, but not actual students?
That could have changed since the data was created, given that some of the students, we did a lot of in-reach to those students who have completed those applications, and we were able to capture a large number that's just not updated on this. But we were able to get a lot of more students to become Compton Connor Promise Program students.
So I would prefer to have slide 15 be the applicant N of 363 and the enrollment to be whatever the actual enrollment truly is, which is if it's 139, then we know the amount of students versus 363, because that can definitely mislead what our impact is. And then from that N of 139, just for my own clarification, promise students cannot have any units or less than 12 units.
For the time that they're applying to the program, Promise program,
Right, to
they're
be eligible.
correct. They have to have no units incurred at all. So they could have gone to a 4-year university, enrolled in classes, but if they dropped the courses and did not incur those units, they can still be eligible for the Connor Promise program.
Okay, but it does not, being part of dual enrollment does not negate their ability to participate in
It does
Promise.
not, because when they are taking those dual, I apologize.
No.
When they are taking those dual enrollment courses, they are coded as for special admit students. Once they come to Compton College as first-time students, they are then recoded as first-time admit.
So they can come with 30 units and still qualify for Promise, only
Correct.
if they went through our dual enrollment?
That's it's any dual enrollment. So if they did dual enrollment at a different district, those are still technically dual enrollment units.
Okay, so that raises another issue for me in terms of why we really then need to focus on disparities in dual enrollment, because it's a twofer, the way that I'm hearing it. And I thought it was different. And like Trustee Calhoun has asked for my constituency, because I'm constantly in the community talking to students, and it is difficult sometimes to find young people who have never taken one course. But if they've, like through dual enrollment. So as long as it's through dual enrollment, they are still eligible for Promise. And the Promise is based upon an endowed fund, right?
Yes, it's based off the funding that we received through, we have a couple of different ways. I want to talk about this for a second since you're on the funding. One is through the Oliver W. Connor Estate. We're scheduled to use some of that, the rent, the money I received from the income from the properties to help pay for the Promise. But we have also have money that was from the previous bookstore project contract that's in our foundation to help pay for student fees. And so we have money that we're utilizing to pay for our students. The board approved the resolution to be able to open up the Promise program to students from outside the district. As it relates to dual enrollment and that question, one of these that we've been doing, which is different from other schools, with regards to 12 and 4, is where we're sending out dual enrollment information to all students within our K-12 partnership schools. Because one of the issues regarding the disparities is that you see that some students don't know anything about dual enrollment and the dual enrollment opportunities. And that's why we went another step regards to the 12 and 4, where all students are receiving information about the dual enrollment opportunities.
So we removed the demographic and the the geography barriers.
Yeah.
And we still have 139 students, and it goes to an earlier community question about documenting and communicating the impact of the estate and how it's being leveraged. And I think we probably have it somewhere, but it would be good to do a monetization of input so that we can quantify fiscally how much we're providing for students to pursue their degree, especially if the dual enrollment does not negate their ability to participate in Promise. So technically, you could have a good 4-year investment or 3-year investment fiscally from Compton College toward your degree or education as a whole, whether you live in Compton, Linwood, Paramount, or not, with Promise.
That's correct.
The unified districts. Okay. But they're not limited by any school district for Promise, right?
Correct.
Okay. for dual enrollment, I know you have to be part of the district, but for participation in Promise, you do not.
But I would put out there, Dr. Little, is that as we think about our trustee area report cards and how we move that forward in the future regards to return on investment, economic mobility, think about how do we share information about dual enrollment. So if you look at your report card that you got last month, and then also look at the ones that are in the packet this month, and what we do in the future in regards to the data, one of these is we want to look at ROI and economic mobility, but then also looking at making sure that in your report card you have the dual enrollment data, but then you also have the promise data for how many students from your district are enrolled in the promise program. How many students from your district are enrolled in dual enrollment? Because the question was asked about CAMS and how many students from CAMS are coming from your district. But at the end of the day, the question is how many students from your district are participating in dual enrollment, regardless, right? But then also how many students from your district, what's that return on investment looks like? And also how many of those students are participating in the College Promise program. And I think that's something that we could be able to add for next year in our trustee area report cards, because one of the things that we've been talking about with the institutional effectiveness is moving that from a report card into a dashboard that we can be able to apply. We can be able to give you different types of reports, and you can tell us how you want it to look, but you have that data and we can share that data. It's just taking it to another level regards to that data. But I hear from today's conversation regards to by zip code for dual enrollment, by zip code for the College Promise program, and then also what is the return on investment regards to how, if a student did a dual enrollment, how many years it take for them to complete their degree, what is their income? And did they get a faster return on investment because they did dual enrollment? And I think that is a great question to ask, and I think that's where our institution is headed regards to ROI and economic mobility. So I get it.
And I think, if I remember, either one or two meetings ago, when we discussed our district, disaggregated district data, I thought that was one of the metric pieces already, because I saw overall increase in enrollment. And again, wanting to try to track the inputs, a lot of word of mouth. We were talking about the community meetings, all of those ways.
But
I'm just saying that would be really good to have so that we can track where the intervention needs to happen.
So it shows your data by your district regards to enrollment, but it does not show the disaggregation in regards to dual enrollment. And that's one of the things that we want to add. But then also, based off this conversation, regards to the College Promise program and how many students from your district are participating in College Promise program. And that's something that we could be able to add in the future to the dashboard, to the data we provide for trustee area report cards and also for our elected officials.
Do you have? I have a few questions on slide 6, eligibility. Number 6, enroll in a minimum of 6 units per term. The way I read that, fall and spring, so they have to be enrolled in fall. Like what happens if you have a recent graduate from one of the high schools that decides to take a break? So then they're automatically they can't get it because they took fall off. They didn't enroll.
Not necessarily. So I will give you the perfect example. Currently, we are coordinating to host a group of students from some of the Cesar Chavez continuation schools that we have within Compton Unified School District. Some of those students are early graduates, meaning that they'll be eligible to start their Compton college journey as of the winter semester. Some of them will, some of them won't, some of them will wait until spring. That does not keep them from being eligible for the Promise program. What happens, they just get rolled over to whatever the next main term is. So if they apply in winter, they'll be rolled over for spring.
Thank you for that clarification. Also, do you have the numbers of our Promise students? Like how many of them are actual like recently like high school grads? Because my understanding in the beginning when the district started this, it was only for recent high school grads. So how successful, I want to know that I guess the age breakdown to see how successful we've been in getting non-traditional students that are not straight out of high school?
That's somewhat reflected on, but it can definitely be better represented on this slide here. Give me a second. Let me. Um, this one here. So if you look at the category that's listed as other unknown, that's basically capturing those students that do not come from any of our district schools. So that could also be adult population students. It could capture anything that's not within the districts.
Thank you. I think it would be helpful to know.
I totally understand where the conversation going. I just want to just like expectations here. There was a lot of requests regards to data, and so we're going to look at the questions from the day, and then I'll probably back to the board regards to how do we present some of the data for FYE. And before I have the staff begin to follow back up, because I want to make sure we capture it all, because there's a lot of different data requests, and I'm trying to make sure that we systematically set this up. So this is something that the board receives on a regular basis, but ensuring that we're not duplicating efforts. And so we'll summarize the notes and then come back to the board through email communication or through at the next meeting, just to try to summarize the data request, and then we can be able to respond back to what's the next steps as we move forward. But I hear all the requests, and I think it's a great conversation. We're trying to figure out ways to be better at this regards to our College Promise program, and how do we be more intentional regards to recruitment of students, but then also making sure that we have the data and we're capturing the data regards to student enrollment, but also success and retention from our local schools and outside our district, and then also by age and this, that, and the other. So we can be able to follow back up on that. But I appreciate the conversation.
And I think that's all I had. Mr. Hernandez, are there any other comments or questions? Thank you for that presentation.
Thank you for your time.
Good job. And Dr. Z as well.
Moving on to item 13, the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second.
It's been moved by trustee Calhoun and seconded by trustee Dopplemore. So now we have it open for discussion, but first, I'll go in order. If with each trustee, if you could please list which items you want discussed. Trustee Mims,
Have any at this time?
trustee Calhoun,
Zero, none.
trustee Dopplemore,
Nothing for me. Thank you.
Dr. Little, trustee Lopez. Oh, that's none for me. So is there any general discussion? Without any further discussion, can we have the vote?
Thank you, Dr. Little. Student trustee Mims, is yours working? A verbal yay? Okay. That's a unanimous yes vote.
Moving on to item 14, action items 14.01. Compton CCD, PERS, STIRS, California Public Entity Pension Stabilization Trust Funding Schedule.
So move.
It's been moved by trustee Calhoun and seconded by Dr. Little. Is there any discussion? Without any further discussion, can we have the vote?
Yes for Dr. Little. Yes for Cynthia Mims. That's a unanimous yes vote.
14.02, Compton CCD, other post-employment benefits, futurist, public entity investment trust funding withdrawal schedule.
So moved.
It's been moved by trustee Calhoun and seconded by Dr. Little. Is there any discussion? Can we please have the vote?
Thank you both. That's a unanimous yes vote.
14.03 MOU between Compton Community College District and Residence Inn by
Moves. I don't know.
Trustee Calhoun.
Go ahead.
Did you get the second?
No.
To trustee Little. Trustee Little said it. She seconded, I was.
Seconded by
She was-
Dr. Little.
you was beating
Got
me
it.
on the shoulder. What
Is,
the-
is there any discussion? Can we have the vote?
Oh, thank you. That's a unanimous yes vote.
14.04 Administrative Services, Compton CCD, Resolution Number 11-17-2025A, a resolution of the Compton Community College District to establish a student housing fund to support affordable housing. Is there a second?
Here's the second, Chair.
Motion by Trustee Calhoun and seconded by Trustee Dopplemore. Is there any discussion? Can we have the vote?
Thank you. That's a unanimous yes vote.
14.05 Administrative Services, Compton CCD Resolution Number 11-17-2025B, Budget Transfers and Augmentations for Fiscal Year 2025 through 2026.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Trustee Dopplemore, seconded by Trustee Calhoun. Is there any discussion? With no discussion, can we have the vote?
Yes. Thank you. That's a unanimous yes vote.
Administrative Services, Resolution Number 11-17-2025C, Utah NASPO Value Point Master Agreement Number AR 3228 with State of California participating, Addendum Number 7-20-70.
Don't move.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Trustee Calhoun and seconded by Trustee Mims. Is there any discussion? Can we have the vote, please?
Verbal yes. Thank you. That's a unanimous yes vote.
14.07 Amendment to President CEO Contract for,
Don't move.
I'll second.
it's been moved by Trustee Calhoun and seconded by Trustee Dopplemore. Is there any discussion? With no further discussion, can we have the vote?
Thank you. That's a unanimous yes vote.
Moving on to item 15, discussion and action. Dr. Curry.
So the first item, item 15.01 is the regular scheduled board meeting dates for 2026. The staff, actually Sylvia, works on this every single year regards to potential meeting dates for next year, looking at the Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. This is as the board's requested. I know the board will be looking at this at the organizational meeting next month, but these are proposed dates that we have. We also looked at the City of Compton council meeting, Compton Unified, Linwood, Paramount City Council, and the Linwood City Council. But these are the proposed dates if the meetings are on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays and Thursdays, and also take into account the conferences as well. And just a side note, I think staff does like Mondays. I ain't saying nothing. I just said a side note that I think staff like Mondays. I wasn't saying nothing.
Are we voting on this
No.
like right now or next
Till next
month? Okay. Yes.
Item 15.02, this is the board presentation report schedule. And look, I'm trying to get better regards to the number of presentations. We're reducing them, but I can't take into account the amount of time that's spent with questions and from the Board of Trustees. So I'm reducing the number. I've been trying to keep it at 2 at most. There's no 3 in there, but we kept it at 2, and we're doing more reports to the board. That'd be written reports, but we're trying to keep the presentations at 1 to 2 per meeting. However, if the board would like more information on the program, we could be able to provide that in writing. But I try to reduce it a little bit to make it, because of time commitments. Because as you saw tonight, we had 2 presentations that started at, let's say, 6:30, and we probably spent about an hour and 20 minutes. And that's fine because that's part of the board's role, but it's difficult when if we have 3 presentations. So I'm trying to keep it at 2. But is there something special the board would like next year regards to presentations? We try to make sure we cover everything. One thing to note regards to the audit, our anticipation for this next year is that the audit report and the bond audit will be submitted in March because it's not due till February because of the federal shutdown. And so we're looking at a March presentation in 2026. But we try to capture the different programs. But if you want to report on a program, we can provide that as well as you go out throughout the year. And we share this schedule with the managers so they know early on when their presentation is scheduled.
Are you asking for a comment?
I'm asking for comments or any suggestions. If you want different, because next month I'll be bringing this back as a finalized draft. But is there something you want to see as a presentation or report next year? That would be helpful as we try to finalize this.
Dr. Little?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Curry, for you all being very responsive, and we appreciate the narrowing down. Obviously, depending upon the topic, sometimes there are more questions. And we appreciate the, added information. It would be good to, I don't know what the pace may be, because I think every meeting may be too cumbersome, but on the vocational program specifically, like maybe we have a rotating schedule of updates, whether it be cosmetology, nursing, welding, automotive, fire academy, and obviously it can be inclusive of STEM and things such as that, but just some basic data on numbers of students, the, persistence, retention, graduation rates, and any placement or professional placement or earnings rates would be really, really good. And the reason I personally ask, and I think it may be similar with my other colleagues, is that those are the kind of conversations I'm having in the community where people, when I'm advocating to say, come to Compton College, we have these programs, these are the opportunities that you can pursue, your taxes pay for it, so come and take full advantage. And it may be on me as well, so I'll take some accountability, but just to have at the ready, almost like a little cheat sheet or, postcard that we can maybe get, and then those areas where we have gaps in attendance or enrollment, we can be targeted.
So I think that from my perspective is more updates on academic programs. My only thing that I would say in regards to your question that I think is important is as we figure out this return on investment, economic mobility framework for the institution, and we have something on the agenda that we're going to share, is how do we present the return on investment and economic mobility for all of our academic programs on our campus, and what does that look like? Not only does the data regards to number of students enrolled, this, that, and the other, but then also retention and success for those programs, but also what's the return on investment in regards to economic mobility and those students ended up with jobs. Because at the end of the day, when we're talking about academic programs and we're talking about the success of our institution, it all goes back to outcomes and how do we present that. So I think the first step will be making sure that this question that was asked is that's included in our framework regards to creating a dashboard that has this information. But then also, two, providing timely reports to the Board of Trustees on our programs. So I think the first step, for the second step, the first step would go through create a dashboard. But until we get to that point, I think we could be able to provide maybe a report throughout the year on particular programs by divisions. And so we could be able to look at the 5 guided pathways divisions and providing the data for their students, but also it's already linked to our institutional set goals and providing that as a report to the Board of Trustees. And we can separate that by the quarter or something like that. We can do that for you and break that down and come up with a template. And then as we move forward with the return on investment economic mobility framework, ensuring that the data regards to outcome is available, and that's a part of the report moving forward. And so we can do that for the 5 divisions. We can spread it out every other month with a report for each of the divisions and the students are enrolled in those programs and continue to build off of that report. Does that work?
No, that's exactly, yes, that would be really good. And again,
And that's a starter.
not to make it cumbersome, that whole, 360 as we get to the why of students pursuing. And if you can add, completion rates, like you have faculty information on the website, but really looking at, like we look at English and math, transfer English and math, but really we'll be able to begin to track programmatically where the areas are for students, their interest, their persistence, their completion. I think it opens up for industry partnerships when we see these kind of targeted strategies and then the outcomes. Thank you.
Yeah, and I totally agree. We have and Amari's gonna be talking, Dean Williams will be talking later on today in two items from now regards to our comprehensive dashboard, which I think is very cool. But the pieces that's missing is the return on investment part. But you'll be able to see that based off of the academic programs or divisions where students are at regards to transfer flow, English and math. But you asked for us to break it down by particular majors. That's important, and we could be able to follow back up. But every quarter, every other month, we can give you one for each of the academic divisions. Which one? You what? I didn't hear that. Oh, it's not a
Trustee-
presentation, it's a show thing, that's all.
Trustee Doppelmayr?
Yes, Dr. Hurry, what I think what if possible, if we could have maybe a little bit more alignment with some of the presentations, like when you're pairing them up. So for, like tonight is a good example of where we got the update on like the Oliver W. Connor, but it kind of coincides with, some of the financial aid numbers, right? So I'm thinking if we could maybe have, say maybe like a pairing of those two, and I'm just using those as an example. And then maybe have the timing on the calendar be more in line like with the school year and or, maybe like the school year and or like what's happening, like with the calendar schedule, for example, like with more of our, some of the presentations that we've had in the past where, say like ASG is providing and giving like their end of the year update on some of their activities and some of the impact that they have had. I think if we could do that, that's what I would like to see. Because for example, the financial aid deadline or cutoff for community colleges November. So that data being available, say maybe like this month or December or at the beginning of the year. I don't know when that is on your schedule, but that's just a few examples that I had as I was looking through. I think it's like for February. Is it on the calendar because you're waiting to gather all that information?
Or financial aid?
Well, here you're saying that the financial aid for 26 is the presentation is scheduled for February 26,
Yeah,
2026.
correct.
And is that because?
You're gonna want, based off of previous years, you wanna know how many students from the previous year, 24, 25, have, what was the financial aid data for that year? And as we do all of our reporting, we can have better data for the Board of Trustees in February. As you remember, last month, we talked about it was brought from the board regards to the basic needs presentation was in October. And so we talked about the data was not available, and we said we're gonna move that to November because the board wanted that data that was in that, including that presentation. So I felt like we're combining them, but some of these things are things that we have to do during that time. I mean, for example, the facilities update. We try to make sure we get the facilities update each year in June because we also have our 5-year, we have our state reporting for our facilities. I can't remember the name of this right now, but it's it's the 5-year facilities 5-year construction plan, which is due by July. We make sure that the board gets that in June. So you see that, but you also know the projects that we're working on. So we're trying to combine and connect them. Then also the upper bound math science, the reason why that's in May, because you also recognize those students who participate in the program. So that's why that's been in May. So we're trying to do a better job at to make sure we do some pairing, but also too, we're not trying to have as many presentations that we have had in the past. So we're trying to get better at this regards to what we present for you, but then also too, some of the data questions that the board is asking for, we have a lot of that stuff in our dashboards that you can be able to play with and look at. And so one of my things is really keeping the board focused on some of the dashboards. So for example, the institutional set goals dashboard, that's the one that we really want to be monitoring. And then as we create the return on investment dashboard, what does that look like? To continue to be able to monitor, but then also to reduce some dashboards so everything's all in one based off the needs or based off what you want to be able to see. But I do hear you about the pairing.
Yes. Oh, so again, just to clarify really briefly, so for financial aid for in February, is that going to include, that will have all the data for 24, 25?
Correct.
And because we've already exceeded the cutoff, that information, say for this year, this existing year, it's not available?
No, what I'm looking at regards to the data for financial aid, don't you want to know the success and retention of those students that receive the aid? You won't know that for all your fall students because grades are submitted in December. So you want to be able to get a whole picture of what that looks like. And so it's a lot easier to do that for the next year. Same thing when we look at our report cards that we give to the board. We have a schedule of that. We also have a schedule when the fact book is available as well.
Okay. Well, thank you for that clarification.
But is there any other presentation that the board would like to have or report on a particular program? I hear about the academic programs. I totally get that. But is there any other program? We try to flip regards to EOPS and CARE and Next Up and CalWorks. So they're not doing it every single year. We rotate that. Same thing with the Special Resource Center. We've been trying to rotate some of these presentations, but not try to overdo it.
What about updates with the Black and Males of Color Success Initiative?
So we did that about a year, last year. And so the question would be, do we want to add that? Or we could just do a report on that program.
Can we consider adding it
As a presentation or a report?
as a presentation?
And as a presentation?
Is there anything else?
You taking that into consideration, Dr. Curry?
I wrote it down.
Okay.
But I just want to be clear about this is that we can't do it all, right? So we're trying to manage it to be able to do this. And then there's going to be sometimes we know that the board will ask as a follow-up item for a report or update. But I just want to just be clear that it's hard to do them all, right? There's only one meeting a month. But we will look at the my notes are the reports from the academic programs as we move forward regards to the number of students. Then we're looking at the pairing of the presentations to be able to provide an update on that, and then also a potential Black and Male of Color program presentation sometime in this next year.
I don't think there's any other comments. If you can move on to the next one.
The next item is what was requested, 15.03, regards to board compensation and also regards to the administrative regulation as relates to board members' compensation. And this was requested at the last board meeting regards to this policy, and is open for discussion by the board. And is there any direction for the CEO as relates to this item?
Trustees, are there any comments or questions?
No further questions for me.
Dr. Curry, if you could just move along.
Okay, so 15.04 is the Board of Trustees committee meetings. I'm getting closer. I was gonna have one more conversation with the board members. So from my understanding, I have Trustee Calhoun, Trustee Dopplemore, and also Dr. Little are interested in hosting some type of community engagement. Also, what I got from my conversation is that Trustee Ramos and also Trustee Lopez, you have no interest, but you would like to know about community events that are happening and to be aware of that. And then from there, you'll make a decision how you would like to be engaged. And so I just gotta do one follow-up.
I don't think I said that I wanted to have a community meeting.
No, you said engagement. You and I had a conversation.
Oh,
And
okay.
you want me, your engagement was looking, when we talk about that, what
Okay.
you wanted? It wasn't a community meeting, about community engagement.
Okay,
You said no to community meetings.
I definitely did.
But you had some community engagement ideas.
Yeah, but I didn't write them down, so just ignore them.
No, I had them. They were pretty good. So Trustee Calhoun, you said no community meeting, but if there are community meetings, please advise, make sure that we know about it. And then also you want to make sure that you get a letter to elected officials within your district about what Compton College is doing.
That's it, that's right.
That was your community engagement.
You're correct. Thank you for reminding me. But definitely no meeting.
Dr. Curry, do we have the date for the community day?
Yeah, it's scheduled for April, and I can have more information soon. The goal for the community day this year, as relates to it, we want to do more early outreach regards to middle and also elementary school participation for the community day, but also utilizing our partnership with our Compton Community Health Partnership as relates to that engagement of those for the middle school work that we're doing within our community. But that's the goal for Community Day, and I can provide more information at the next board meeting.
And I can augment my position about a community meeting because it can get encompassed in the one day. So we're not, one, extending the staff or cannibalizing our community, but with just some support to have earlier outreach. I can forego a community meeting separate.
Got it. So then I'm done. I can write it all up. Thank you. The next item, let me keep going. 15.05 is our institutional set goals. I'm gonna have Amari I just wanna have him show you what we're working on. The board delegated to me to work on institutional set goals for the programs and departments. We have a dashboard that's been created, and Amari can talk about that, and you can be able to see the institutional set goals that's been set. But I also wanted to be aware of in your document is a framework for the economic mobility framework for the institution and what that potentially could look like. We're working on this right now. It's going through consultation process, and we're sharing information with the different constituent groups. But the good thing about this is that we're engaging individuals in these conversations regards to ROI and economic mobility. Amari.
All right. Good evening, Board of Trustees. Evening. Back with another data update. Heather, if you could click that comprehensive dashboard link. Thank you. And maybe we can take a look at page 2, just so I can show you the updates that have been made. So you have seen the institutional set goals dashboard that had across many pages a lot of this data. So based on the feedback that we've gotten from you as our board and from our manager supervisors. We worked on revising this dashboard. So the latest update pulls many of our institutional set goals into one page and organizes some of those filters so things are a little bit cleaner and easier to navigate. So what you see in front of you is what I'm calling the guided pathways profile page. And so this is data for enrollment, course success rates, student persistence, average units earned, degrees and certificates, and first year transfer level math and English, where we can disaggregate by the student's guided pathway division. And so based on what the student's major is, right, we can see what pathway, AKA what success team the student belongs to, and be able to look at some of those institutional outcomes from that lens. And then Heather, if we go to page 3, it is, yes, in the background. And then if we were just looking at page 2 of that from that link. Okay. Page 3 is the same data, but this is the data where we'll start to put out, what are those institutional set goals disaggregated by student support program. And so that's why it looks a little bit busier, but remember you can blow up, not a great word, you can expand the visuals in the report. And so the way that this is laid out, it is the same data. We don't have an institutional set goal for students enrolled. So maybe Heather, we could look at course success rate. Perfect, thank you. And so the dashed lines are institutional set goals, right? So we have a goal for course success rate and then course success rate for in-person classes, which is that maroon color, the maroon dash line. And then the gray dash dotted line is the course success rate for distance education, right? So it's the same data. That's what the trend has been since 2019. The horizontal line is our institutional set goal. All right, and so the reason we've been working so much on the dashboard is because if you take a look, if you maybe remember what these lines are now, 77, 72, 67, and Heather, if we can go back to the report and say, let's choose under programs and service, EOPS. All right, now if we can blow that visual back up, the goal line for 2035 moves with the program. So now we see this is the course success goal lines for in-person and distance ed just for EOPS. And we can drill down into, what does that look like for many of our student support programs? We're continually adding them. Right now, what we have up there is EOPS, Special Resource Center, Black and Males of Color Success Initiative, Next Up, Mesa STEM, and the Veterans Resource Center. We just completed getting data entered for our Child Development Center, and we're working with athletics to get their data organized so that we can add them. And then I just had a conversation with our financial aid supervisor about the approach of how we'll add in that Pell and California College Promise Grant into this. But I did want to show you this because this is the direction we're moving in so that we can say to our programs and services, okay, here's your 10-year target and here's how your data, has been going over the past few years, and that can be in one place for both you as the board and for our program managers to be able to monitor their institutional set goals. So this is our latest update to the dashboard.
And this has never been done before in higher education in California or nationally, where you're applying institutional set goals to programs and departments. And what's important for us as we move forward is now a part of our planning process and included in the board policy administrative regulations tonight is one of the changes in regards to our calendar. So one of the goals that we're looking at is changing our annual goals to be 2-year goals. And I'll be bringing back a recommendation to the board to change your board goals from 1-year goals to 2-year goals, but you reassess it after 1 year. And the reason why is that the way we've been setting our goals is that we set the goals in the spring, we need time, but then also it informs the planning process. So next year, when we start to work on the goals be set for 27 through 29. So it'll be 2-year goals, but this year's goals for 25, 26 and 26, 27, the 25, 26 goals will be there for 26, 27. And the recommendation to the board for your goals for 25, 26 is extend those to 26, 27. And then you can make some adjustments to that over time, working with Helen Benjamin, but you know that they're now 2-year goals versus 1-year goals, and it will inform the planning. But then also too, is that our program review and our annual plan process will be asking our departments to talk about how you're going to be reaching these goals that are set for you. So for example, one of my things I talk a lot about is EOPS and CARE has a goal now regards to transfer level English and math. So if you look at the dashboard, can you go to dashboard for EOPS and CARE and transfer level English and math? And they know I talk about this all the time. So now you can see the numbers for EOPS regards to transfer level English and math completion. And then what are you going to do if you move it all the way over, Amari? Because I think it's the 101 students. Which one is this?
I think this is just CARE.
Okay, if you just do EOPS and CARE together. There you go. There you go. It should show 100. There you go, right there. Is it 101 or something like that?
Which year? Which year?
That's to go. Can you go to math? Sorry, math is the one I really like. English, yeah, but math is the one. What's the number for math?
We have to. It's 11% that have completed.
Well, what was the number of students?
18.
18. And how many students were first-time students that were enrolled in the program?
I could go back and add these numbers, but 18, 30, and 118.
Okay. So out of all the new students that they had, only 18 transfer level English and math. That's a problem. Right? And so this is the only way you can start having these conversations. Okay, what are we going to do differently to ensure that first-year students who are coming in as EOPS and CARE students are taking transfer level English and math during the first year, but specifically math. And then our students are waiting until their last semester, particularly Black students, regards to that math. And we can be able to disaggregate this by race, gender, and age as well, and begin having these conversations. But that's a problem when you start talking about completion. You're talking to Mike.
Heather is controlling.
I don't know if the numbers at the bottom, like the completion numbers show, because I can't get into my computer. When you look at it, because we see very big, the red, 92, 81, whatever that did not complete. And then the screen before you had it reversed.
Yeah.
You had the completion number at the top. I would be consistent and maybe go back one.
Maybe I think you might be thinking page 2,
Maybe
where that was. I will correct that. I did fix that because when we added the goal line in, I noticed it didn't make sense because right, the red's at the bottom and the line was down here. So I did flip it. I think might have overlooked on page 2 to make the same.
Please know that that's minimal because most people don't even have the data, let alone have to worry about how it's presented.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
So this is where we're headed. And Amari is going to be adding the one sheet that I really want to show that, so you can be able to see all the goals for the different programs and departments. But this is where we're headed as an institution. And the next phase of this, and this ties into Compton 2035. The next phase of this is the return on investment, economic mobility. Today I had a meeting, and I was meeting with some individuals from from Washington D.C. The American Association, I can't remember, it's ACE, the American College, I can't remember the E right now. But anyway, I saw a dashboard today from Colorado Mountain College and how they're doing economic mobility and how they're doing it by programs. It was just amazing because they're able to get data from Lightcast regards to program and students, but then they're also, it's one that's hidden behind a wall. But it's a really good dashboard where you're looking at economic mobility, so you'll be able to have conversations with faculty, staff about the economic mobility and return on investment and what does that look like. It's very important for us as an institution, as I mentioned in a meeting this afternoon, is that we have to determine what return on investment, economic mobility look like for us. and how do we follow back up with students in particular programs. So for example, with cosmetology, as we look at return on investment, economic mobility, there might be a different survey that goes out to those students because some of those students, it's a cash business. So what does that look like? But really taking on return on investment, economic mobility, and really looking at it for all of our programs and how we can improve our programs. But I think that's the next step of this work. But then also to the accountability piece regards to student completion and starting to ask the questions why are students not taking transfer level English and math. It is not just a board responsibility or the CEO, but we're asking for this at the program and department level, which I think is critical as we move forward. So Mara has been doing a lot of work in this space, and we're getting a lot of recognition nationwide because of the direction that we're going. But it's a lot of work that's included in this.
Thank you for fixing the
Housing?
pathway. Yes, yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
Can I just keep going now?
Thank you.
Okay, so now item 15.06 is the full-time equivalent student data. You know, enrollment is up for the college and it's looking very well. We're actually look like we're going to meet our targets for the year. We continue to monitor the enrollment. One of these, our winter enrollment is very strong and we're really excited about that. And now we got to do a push for spring. But in our data, as we do this, Heather, if you can go all the way down to the bottom. One of the things that we added, just to show this again, was regards to the activities. So you have the year from July 1 to present, and then you also have for the last month. And so you have all the updated data of what we're doing in regards to outreach. But again, as it looks to outreach for our students, I really want to focus us in on the early outreach, elementary and middle school, but then also really being targeted with the transcripts that we get from our K-12 districts of really targeting students from ninth grade on who are potentially could be community college students, and those students are in our database for recruitment because we do have the transcripts of those students, and we really got to focus in on our yield, but our yield is not about them being a senior. Our yield is about how we work with them from 9th through 12th grade. Yes. Go for it.
Heather, can you open up the 5-year projection, the last attachment? Thank you. And if you can make it a little bigger. So this meeting, we've also included our 5-year past actuals as well as our projection to 2030 to reach our 5980 target. And it's still quite ambitious. The middle reported FTS does not go past 25-26 because we are still in 25-26. And as we add different academic years, we'll add that information in. And so we've looked at the sections. We've tried to take a more realistic approach at what we should be offering in order to reach those targets. And we'll continue to monitor so that we can continue the growth that we've started in 22-23. Thank you, Dr. Curry.
Item 15.07 is our 5-year fiscal management plan. As our previous Vice President of Administrative Services, Dr. Nasser, say it's a plan, and we continue to work on that. But this is something that we have shared with the campus community, also with the Board of Trustees, regards to our fiscal health for the district over the next 5 years. Heather, can you open the document and go to the last page for me, please? Actually, the first page. The first page I think is very important, so you get to see the 24-25. These are our assumptions for 24-25 through 29-30. And we're projecting for 26-27. We will not receive cost of living adjustments because of the hold harmless and the funding for the district. We also take into account other assumptions in regards to lottery revenue, EPA revenue, PERS and STIRS, those increases as well. We also take into account our health and welfare increases that have been proposed in negotiations, but we've been able to outline all of our assumptions for the district. And then the next couple pages, page 2 and 3 has the revenue and also projected expenditures. And then the last page has the what it looks like for our ending balance for the district. One thing I will pay attention for the board is that for 24-25, based off our unaudited actuals, we had a 38.4% reserve. As we have negotiations, everything is accounted for, But you look in 2930, that includes, looks at a negative 0.7% ending balance. And so before we can be able to bring a budget for the district, our policy talks about a 10% reserve. So right now, I'm working on reductions over the next couple of years to ensure that our reserve is higher than 10%. At tonight's board meeting, you approved the withdrawal from the PERS and STIRS fund and also from the other post-employee benefits liability fund and trust fund, which is what they're for. And so that will be making some changes to our 5-year budget because of that. And we have other recommendations as well. I'm taking those recommendations to the Planning and Budget Committee next Tuesday. And the Planning and Budget Committee has received this, and also the Consultative Council received it as well. But we're working through this for the district. But it's a planning document, and the good thing about it is we have accounted for all the positions for the district, but also positions that are assigned to grants as well. Any questions? And the last item is on this section is the trustee our elected official legislative report cards. So I like to play with this a little bit. So we hit the 65th Assembly District. You can see this is Assemblymember Mike Gibson's district. And if you go to the page that I like right there. And so you can see that it went from 3,300 students to 3,700 students in 24-25. You can also see the math transfer level, English and math for our students. You can see the ethnicity as well, age and gender. You can see who's part-time, who's full-time, and you also get to see the persistence data as well. If you look at the last page of this, page 4, that's where it goes back to Trustee Dr. Little's questions about economic outcomes, employment outcomes. This is where we want to change that to really start to look at the ROI and economic mobility. But then also to Dr. Little, this is where we can add in information as we move to a dashboard regards to dual enrollment and how many students are in the Promise program. And we're one of the first community colleges that were doing this. We have a couple other colleges that copied us. We should charge them for copying us. But it's a good thing to share with legislators, and this is what we'll be sharing in our meeting with our elected officials. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns? Back to you.
Item 16, grant items, 16.01, Administrative Services Grant, Shabbat Las Positas Community College District on behalf of the California Department
So
of
moved.
Social. It's been moved by Trustee Calhoun and seconded by Dr. Little. Is there any discussion? Can we have the vote?
Yes. Thank you.
Oh my God.
That's a unanimous yes vote.
16.02, grant amendment, South Bay Workforce Investment Board Incorporated.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Can we have the vote?
Let's vote. Thank you.
Did we miss something?
That's a unanimous yes vote.
16.03, ratification amendment, State of California Department of Ed Agreement for Child Development Services.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Can we have the vote?
Yes vote. That's a unanimous yes vote.
16.04, grant ratification, State of California Department of Ed Agreement for Child Development Services.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? Can we have the vote?
That was
Yes
unanimous
vote.
as a second. You were the second? Okay.
Yes vote.
Okay. Dr. Little? That's a unanimous yes vote.
16.05 grant ratification, the Eli and Edith Broad Foundation, Compton Community.
So moved.
Second.
I have trustee Dopplemore made the motion and trustee Calhoun seconded.
Any discussion? With no discussion, can we have the vote?
Yes vote.
Yes vote.
Thank you. That's a unanimous yes vote.
Item 17, board policies and administrative regulations. Dr. Curry.
These are just updates to board policies and administrative regulations. One of the board policies we're working on that you'll get hopefully soon is auxiliary services board policy, but we're waiting on the Oliver W. Connor estate stuff to be done in regards to the formation of the LLC for that, or the separate entity. But this month you have a couple board policies that are being brought forward for the district that you approve. But I did mention item number 1711, which is the administrative regulation for budget calendar in regards to two-year goals. So at the next board meeting, we'll be bringing forth the recommendation for the 25-26 goals for the college to be applied for 26-27, and then working with the Board of Trustees to have your goals updated as well, so they could be two-year goals for the district. But I think that's a good practice as we move forward. So I'd like to say thank you to everybody that's involved in board policies and administrative regulations. This week, Sylvia, and also Elizabeth, who works in the academic affairs, will be at the Community College League of California. They have a training on board policy and administrative regulations. There's a lot of work that goes into the board policy and administrative regulations, from the schedule that's developed to the review process. But we have it down here at Compton College, and that's because of everybody that's involved in it. And Dr. Sherry Berger leads that effort for the district.
Item 18, information items.
Just want to bring a couple things to the attention. Item 18.05 is an update on the Oliver W. Connor estate. One of Trustee Calhoun's questions was regards to one of our properties was demolished, and I made a comment to our trustee for the state about, could we work with Popeyes, because it's a Popeyes chicken next door, could they be able to rent our parking lot? And so that's in the notes. And so once the property's transferred over, I signed the paperwork today, I have to bring forward a recommendation in regards to the development of the property. And the reason why I asked a question about that was because as we try to figure out what to do with the two properties on Long Beach Boulevard, what can we do in the interim so we can be able to gain revenue, since the previous apartment or the previous building is not able to be utilized. But there's no decision on that, but there's something we're looking at, or I asked about, because to see how much revenue could that potentially generate for the district. But that's not final. It's just trying to get some more information in regards to that. Also want to give you an update. You have the nursing department update. You also have the update on the police department as well. And you also have the financial information for the district. One of these that I'm working very close with Business Services, Direct Lamby, who's here, in regards to closeout of the Compton Measure CC Fund for 2002. And so our goal is to have that bond closed out, which is part of the board goals, by June of this year, June of 2026. And so we're working next with the auditors regards to the audit report to get that done, and then we'll come forth. I'm hopeful by January, February, with a spend down plan to spend the money before June 30th of 2026. You also have in your packet the updated housing schedule, 18.18. We're doing very well as relates to student housing in our timeline. You see a building, I don't know where it's at now, but I saw 2 floors. I don't know what they had today, but I know I saw 2 floors last week, and they're working on that. And so I don't know where we're at. I know they went to another area. I did not see that out, what's happening today, but nothing happened today. All right. No problems, right? Just right. Okay. The way you get it look is like, all right. Okay. So, but it's moving fast. We're really excited about the project. People are excited, but we're really monitoring that. Also, 18.19, I did put a note in there in regards to our community benefits agreement. And well, it's interesting, somebody on social media asked about the project and local hires, and we responded back and said it's on our board agenda. And someone said that's not public, but it is public because our board agenda are public. But I don't know how many community colleges are doing that, but we have our community benefits agreement and the numbers on there. I'm meeting with the building and trades. I want to say it's this week or next week, regards to the tier one local hires. Because if you look at the document, there should be more tier one hires from the district. And so we're going to be asking for what are their strategies to ensure that those numbers are increasing on the projects. And that concludes the information section.
Moving on to item 19, future agenda items. 19.01, Compton CCD Board of Trustees, future agenda items request. Trustees, do we have any requests? With no requests, moving on to 19.02. That's the Compton CCD Board of Trustees Annual Organizational Meeting.
Yes, I'm sorry. So this is the last next about the annual organizational meeting is at the December meeting, where the board will be electing a board president, a board vice chair, vice president, a clerk, and then also representatives for the different committees, and then the appointment of me as the secretary to the board. So we have that scheduled for the next meeting. We also have a presentation on veteran services, an update on the program review update. We also have an update on the call to action response from the work that we've been doing in regards to the call to action in response to the murder of George Floyd. We also have a distance education report and also report on student learning outcomes.
Moving on to item 20, oral reports. Dr. Curry.
I would like to say thank you to the Board of Trustees for the renewal of my contract. Right now I'm in my 14th year, so I think I'm getting close to 14 years, so I'm getting closer and closer to 20 years in this seat. I think it's important when we talk about leadership and sustainability is that CEOs, the average is about 3 to 4 years now in the seat. For me to be in the seat now for 14 years, to me, I can see the difference in regards to the work that we're doing and how we're able to build off of that work. And so I'd say thank you to the Board of Trustees for your faith in me and also the renewal of my contract. Also, I'd say tomorrow we have our Taste of Thanksgiving event. I'm excited about that. I think it starts from 12 to 3, Sylvia? From 12 to 3 in the multi-purpose room. That's one of our signature events because everyone likes the holiday food. And so we're excited about that event for our employees on our campus. That's going to be happening. Also, too, the Board of Trustees, you have some of you are participating in the Community College League of California annual convention, which is in Orange County this year. And so we're excited about that and to be able to spend time with the Board of Trustees at that conference that's happening. And then the final piece of that is we're still working on registration for winter and spring. So if you can please encourage individuals within the community about registration to register for Compton College. And the last piece I want to say is that last week I had the opportunity to keynote the student housing conference for the California community colleges. And I made a statement and I thought, people it was interesting, but I made a statement in regards to basic needs. And I said that until someone proves me wrong, Compton College offers more basic needs services than any community college in the state of California, but also nationally until someone proved me wrong. And when I first said, I think people were like shocked and surprised that I said that. And then I said all the things that we do, and you can hear a pin drop. We're like, he's right. Again, the work that we do regards to basic needs is above any other college, but that's because of everyone's involvement and engagement. Today, we had our LA Food Bank. I don't know how many people are out there, but people are there early to be able to pick up food from the LA Food Bank. When we had to do some things with CalFresh, we were able to pivot when CalFresh didn't have, students were able to receive extra meals. They're able, if you're in CalWorks, they receive $50 from the grocery outlet. They're also able to receive additional funding at the farmer's market. We have been able to pivot and provide additional support to our students because we have created infrastructure to support the basic needs. And Liddell Willis said something to me that I thought was interesting last week. He said, Dr. Curry, I guess sometimes we got to fail at least one time because we continue to do other stuff because we do it right. And my response is yes. So now we have this homeless thing that we're doing with these hotels. That's going to be happening. Then we're going to be opening student housing, and the board today approved to set up a new account and a new fund for student housing. But we continue to build upon an infrastructure that we currently have to support students' basic needs. But the future of basic needs is tied into institutional set goals. And I've asked for Liddell Willis to work with our Student Success Committee because we have to start looking at what are going to be requirements for the second year. Because we have students, and you saw the data, that they're receiving some of our benefits, but are they going to be able to complete? And so if a student is not completing transfer level English and math, and their goal is a transfer, do we still continue to provide them basic needs if they're not meeting us halfway? And that's going to be a difficult conversation to lead as we move forward. But this is what we have to do because our resources cannot sustain it if the students are not meeting us halfway. And we have to make sure at the end of the day, when we start talking about return on investment, economic mobility, students have to complete their degree from us in a timely manner. But we also have to make sure we continue to provide those supports. But if the students are not meeting us halfway, we have to be able to figure out what do we do next. And that's going to be a difficult conversation to have on our campus and a difficult recommendation to bring to the board. But at the end of the day, when we start to look at return on investment, economic mobility, we're doing a lot for students, but we have some students who are not completing. But transfer level English and math, you got to complete that in the first year. So what does those requirements look like and how do we implement that over a period of time? And I don't know, but those are conversations we're going to begin this year in regards to that. And that concludes my report.
Trustee Mims.
Moment of celebration during the CAPC conference. We were awarded this plaque, and it just says that the California Association of Black School Educators 2025 CAPC Black Excellence Award, Community College presented to Compton College in recognition of groundbreaking leadership in advancing education equity for our Black students. So I just wanted to share it with all the
Trustee Calhoun.
Good night.
Trustee Dopplemore.
I would like to wish all of our veteran students that are on campus, I would like to wish them a happy belated Veterans Day. And if we also have any that served in the Marines, I would like to wish them a happy belated Marine Corps birthday. And with that, I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving holiday.
Dr. Little.
I just want to thank everyone, the administration and staff, Dr. Curry, for their continued efforts. I too want to just wish everyone a happy holiday. And as we continue this collective work, thank our community.
Trustee Lopez.
Wishing everyone a happy holiday.
And for me, I just want to wish everyone a happy holiday too, and just thank everyone involved in making this meeting happen and for our trustees for trying to keep it short, even though it went pretty long. Our next regularly scheduled board meeting is December 8th, 2025. Closed session begins at 5 p.m. and open session begins at 6 p.m. This meeting is now adjourned at 8:51.